Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. When TFT signed its partnership with Nestlé in May 2010, many people who asked the question, who are these guys? Who are TFT? So very quickly, I will introduce who we are. We are a global organization that helps businesses understand and transform their product stories. We have about 90 employees in the world, and we are a business-minded non-profit. It means that we are not campaigning, we're working together with the companies to help them change and find solutions. And one particularity is that most of our staff is on the ground. 75% are based in Indonesia, in Africa, and in Brazil, sorting out issues in the factories and in the farms, plantations, and forests. Today I'm going to talk to you about what we are doing with Nestlé, the findings that we made when we worked on those for supply chain models or traceability, and we will propose solutions. So what we are doing with Nestlé is simple. We try to understand, engage, and transform the supply chain. So basically we started by mapping the supply chain, really trying to understand where is this palm oil coming from. And it's complex. It's made of various derivatives. It's made of never it is CPO. Mostly it's refined products and derivatives. And we thought, if we want to find solutions that work for Nestlé as a brand globally, we need to start with the most difficult. We need to start with India, we need to start with China, and we need to start with Thailand. Because if it works in those countries, then it will be easy to adapt the solution to Europe. But if we start thinking about a solution for Europe, very often it doesn't work in those countries. So we start to map the supply chain with the objective to get to plantation. If we get the visibility then on the plantation, we can assess the plantations against Nestlé responsible sourcing guidelines and pilot the supply chain to either include the plantation and support them to move towards certification and compliance, or exclude them if they're not willing to move. So the results of this work is a series of maps by country, of which you have one presented here. These maps show you, for example, here is a Thai market for Nestlé. You've got their 3 factories, and the little boxes which names are hidden, the Nestlé suppliers. And those suppliers, when we worked with them, they started to tell us, okay, I'm sourcing my oil for Nestlé from this area, these mills, and you can see the little dots. These are mills where those Nestlé suppliers are sourcing their oil from. From there, we can assess the level of risk and eventually go and visit those plantations. It's a constructive work that we're doing with the suppliers. Another example is this map of the European palm oil suppliers, where you can see the three refineries of that Nestlé suppliers in Europe, and the various little boxes in green, red, and yellow are basically the level of transparency that each supplier of those refineries has over its supply chain, and the level of risk associated to that as well. So it's quite interesting to see there is names of ports where the shipments are coming from, and obviously we've hidden the names of the companies, but then you've got many players of the palm oil industry certainly present here in this room today. So what's interesting is that working and mapping those supply chain and discussing with the palm oil industry, what we found out is, on one side, on the right-hand side, you've got the producers and the growers who are really willing to get stability and transparency. Why? Because if I'm a grower, I'm investing for 25 years in my plantation, I need to get regularly rid of the oil that I'm producing, and I'm quite happy to open the doors of my plantations, because if I'm doing the things right, I'm quite proud of it. As farmers, as planters, we're quite happy to open the doors. Now, on the other side, you've got the markets, and I'm talking about Nestlé, Kraft, and all the brands that are, looking for more transparency over the supply chain. Those brands, and there is a new element here, they're also looking now at stability of supply. They're looking at securing raw material on the long term. This is valid for cocoa, this is valid for very critical material already now, but it will be the same case for palm oil one day as well. So this is a new element in the equation. Why? Because before, those markets were only looking for price and quality. Today, they're looking for stability. Why is that different? Because for years, they've built in the middle, and you can see the traders, the refiners, people who are very good at bringing price on the market. These people have therefore developed supply chains that are based on volatility and opacity. And today this is an issue that we have here. So the solution, which was a good first step, but which we believe is now obsolete, was to go around the problem, is to basically not go through the opacity and volatility, but go around by using the green palm certificate. The idea was good, but the problem is it's now challenging.
Bastien, can you speed up a little bit?
We need to go through this opacity, we believe, and Nestlé believes as well, to get traceability and build that traceability if we want to transform the market. Now, I will go for the last 2-3 slides very quickly. This is the first limit is the green palm certificate. The second limit is that we're now willing to go towards segregation, and everybody is moving in that direction. The problem is, and the person from Kraft highlighted it very well, is that Nestlé and those companies are buying mixes and fractions, and it's not economically viable today to pay the premiums that you've got on segregated oil. Why? Because at each point of the supply chain, you're creating logistical cost. Now, do the consumer, do the traders, the refiners, and the brands want to just invest in logistics and pay for logistics? Nobody's making money here. Where the money is needed is in the plantations to accelerate transformation. So the problem, everybody is talking here about critical mass. So the way we've approached the problem and the way we're approaching the problem with Nestlé is to say, let's get the critical mass first. And if we get the critical mass, then we can build a certification and start transforming the market. So we need to think about full vessels. We need to think about one flow. And this is what we call natural segregation. So we can go back to ports or shipping areas where you've got a group of plantations that have maybe never heard about sustainability yet. But then suddenly the demand is coming from them from a logistical flow that is natural, that is already existing, that is already optimized in terms of cost. So this becomes interesting. Then we can get in touch with those plantations, and there is a direct incentive because they're already connected to the market. Some of them may already be RSPO certified, but what we can see there is that in the future, this plantation can become RSPO certified because they are now linked to the market who is asking them to move. So this is what we are looking at together with Nestlé, and this is what we believe can help any of the companies that are here build the path towards having a segregated RSPO supply in 2015, but taking a different route than the one we are taking at the moment. Now,
Bastien, can you work towards your conclusion?
This is the last slide. Nestlé is obviously buying from refineries in the various countries, okay, or ingredient manufacturers. These refineries will comply and will move towards what Nestlé is asking them. But let's not forget that these are the same players who are actually supplying the food manufacturers, who are supplying the ingredient manufacturers that are together with Nestlé. And that is valid for any country, China, India, and also the countries in Europe, South America, and the US. So to conclude, we would welcome, as we are already working with Nestlé, we would welcome the buyers to say, okay, map your supply chain. Take interest into that complexity. It is complex, it is difficult, but how do we go through that? We can't go around it. There is no easy fix. We need to deal with that complexity. On the refiner's side, there is here an opportunity, brands who are looking for that traceability. How can you work with your suppliers to bring that traceability to market and differentiate yourself? And finally, to the growers, and I think many of them have already done that, but they can still take a more interest in the downstream supply and how it is structured. So this is the message we have. Thank you very much. We wanted to share the work we're doing with Nestlé, and we hope that we can get other companies embarking on that journey. Thank you.